deeper sense, deeper idea of the symbol?
No. It became, because I wrote this software before called Lettuce, and Lettuce came out of something I had written before I called it ICE, Integrated csound Editor, and then I thought that was a bit too cool to kind of, so then I had a light version of it, and then it was lice, and I thought that's something you get in your hair, so that's not good either. So then I said light, ice, and then it became lettuce, and then this was cabbage. There you have the history of it. So kind of
strange explanation, but
so I was just going to give you a brief rundown or overview of what it is and how it works, and then maybe we could I can give you all a copy of it, and I can go through some examples, and hopefully then if you're all able to create some examples, and then you can give them back to me, and then I can put them on when I distribute cabbage later. Maybe I can take some of your instruments that you do today and include them with the package. It'd be great. So I'm basically going to describe this, what I call a novel new approach, which I could just use novel approach to developing audio plugins with csound, and I'm going to just discuss the basics of the system and exploration. So obviously we know that in an industry kind of dominated by commercial closed source software, that plugins offer us an opportunity to extend the functionality of particular programs. So I thought coupling this then with something, a synthesis engine like csound would just, it should open up a whole plethora of new options for people who want to do sound design with csound. And so now they can basically do sound design with csound in their favorite DAW. So developers can now start working on plugins and stuff without having to know any kind of low-level language. So currently, the release that I have at the moment is for Windows only, but I can build, if anybody wants to use it with Linux, I can build the Linux version builds quite well as well. And the OS 10 version is on its way. So with the OS 10 version, you'll have the option for Apple units as well, audio units from Apple. On Linux at the moment, you've got Linux native VST, which is good. I don't have DSSI or LADSPAN implementation, but I think more and more softwares on Linux are supporting Linux native VST, so hopefully that shouldn't be a problem. The software system, as it is today, it's based on several different projects that I worked on in the past. The first one was Cabbage from 2008. The first idea I had for Cabbage was that users could be able to develop standalone executables and then distribute their instruments as an exe or something like that. The first incarnation in Cabbage has no support for plugins. It was something that I always wanted to do, but I found that using the particular library that I was using, the WX widgets library, and try and implement them plugins with the WX widgets library seemed a bit tricky. So on two other projects that I worked on was CS LADSPAN and CS DST. So myself and Victor wrote CS LADSPAN a couple of years back. A very simple lightweight system for developing csound LADSPAN plugins. And CS DST was kind of a smaller project that I was working on as well. CS DST didn't provide any GUI for their plugins, so it depended on native interface, which is a problem, because I think it's nice to be able to develop your own GUIs as well. So basically how they work, how CS LADSPAN and CS DST, and currently now how Cabbage works as well, is the host is going to launch the plugin is going to launch csound, it's going to send audio from the plugin into csound. That's going to be processed by csound. So csound is just doing processing, it's not talking to any devices, it's just processing, and then we're going to take the sound back out into the plugin and back to the host. So very simple, maybe. So the current version of Cabbage then consolidates all the earlier projects, so you now can develop your own GUIs and plugins. But it no longer uses the idea that I wanted to create standalone applications. So now what I have is I've got a kind of what I call a Cabbage host that can open up any csound instrument as a GUI instrument. So it's a bit like the max runtime player, I guess. So I've moved away from the idea of having to have distribute executables, because it was a bit convoluted and a bit too complex for the results in the end. I think were not so great. So I'm just going to fly through this. So the Cabbage native host then loads and runs Cabbage instruments, plugins from disk. So the function of Cabbage Cabbage host is twofold. First, it provides a standalone player for running GUI-based csound instruments, and secondly, it provides a platform for developing and testing audio plugins. So any instrument that runs in Cabbage can be exported as a plugin then. So either you can export it as a VSTI or a VST effect. So basically the Cabbage host, while it'll let you run performances if you want to run some, you can run the Cabbage host as standalone, or you can export your plugins from the Cabbage host. And the Cabbage syntax is kind of dynamic, because it's changing every so often, but seeing as I haven't released Cabbage yet, it's not a problem. I do try to remain kind of completely backwards compatible with some of my early systems. Art Hunkins is still using some of my early software, and it's important for me that you can update to this stuff once it's released. The syntax used to create the GUI controls is just fairly simple, it's very straightforward. I wanted to keep the syntax as simple as possible because, and I wanted it to be human readable as well. I chose not to use XML tags for all the different descriptors and attributes because I just find XML is not so easy to read. So each line of Cabbage specific code relates to one GUI control only, and its syntax is non-case sensitive. So here's a simple example of a gain plugin. So basically all the declarations for the Cabbage code go up here. The way that Cabbage communicates is through the channel buses, similar to Maxi sound and QC sound as well. So basically we just describe the channel up here. So we say channel gain, caption gain, that's it. Caption goes around the slider, so you can set your min and you can set your max, you get your size and your position here, so on and so forth. And then we're just going to take the values, so anytime this slider is moved, it's going to send information to this channel gain, and then we can use the output from channel get K1 to control the gain. You'll notice here that my max is 10, so this is more than just a gain, it's going to distort it, because I put in a mistake. So it should be just 1, not 10. Anyhow. Okay. So the easiest and most straightforward way to start using Cabbage is with WinXound, which Stefano Bonetti is great WinXound editor, which is free, cross-platform, and open source as well. Communication between WinXound and Cabbage is possible through inter-process communication, so named pipe to set up between the two applications. So then WinXound can be used to control Cabbage, and we can send information back and forth. So, and I can pipe the csound output messages from Cabbage into the WinXound compiler output window as well, so it looks completely integrated. So thanks to Stefano for all the work he's done on that. So here we have that simple plugin again, so at this time we've exported it. You can see it's kind of hard to see there, but you can see the OR slider. So the channels that you choose, the names of the channels that you choose for the parameters are going to be the name of the parameters that appear in whatever renoise or Ableton or whatever VST that you're using, VST host. So plugin parameters, as you probably know, most plugins implement native sliders. It's all sliders, they don't have really anything else. It's just slider. So for things like buttons, it's either going to be on or off, so the slider will be full or it'll be 0, 0, 1. The other thing is combo boxes, so you can have combo boxes with choices. How you control them then. It was important for me that you're able to control everything from the MIDI controllers, because I wanted, so when you hit Control M, it will highlight the control, and then you can kind of MIDI learn functions and things like that. So with the combo box, it's just going to, if there's 5 choices in the combo box, then the slider will jump by a fifth every time you increment. So just a few other things. CS options. When you're writing plugin effects, you're going to want to use -D and -N. So the -D prevents csound from trying to load any external GUI windows, because that's going to be a pain, because it'll launch the FLTK stuff in the background, but you don't want it. And then the -N is going to cause csound to bypass writing of audio to any devices. Interestingly enough, Victor asked a recent talk, he said, what happens if you don't use the -N? Well then, you actually csound will play some audio, and the Cabbage host will also play some audio. So I don't know the implications of that. I'm sure there's probably some kind of interesting scenario where you might want Cabbage to be processing audio and csound as well. So the thing to note is the Cabbage plugin host, it looks after all the audio and MIDI routing, so you don't have to worry about any audio options in csound. It's all taken care of. When you're building a plugin instrument, then you're going to want to use, there's several ways. You can just use any MIDI code you like in csound, but I like the MIDI interrupt command line flags that Mike Goggins wrote. It just means that you can patch all the P4 and P5 directly into your instrument. I'll show you in a moment now an example of that. There's a VSTI running, so the Cabbage host also comes with a little keyboard, so you can play some MIDI stuff. It's useful for when you're testing and debugging plugins. So sometimes you won't want to keep loading the plugin in the host, while you're working on it. So it's nice that you have a keyboard. So, right, that's enough of that talk. So I'm going to just show you a quick example of some of the stuff. No, that's not there. So WinXound, just going to launch WinXound. So the first time you launch WinXound, you might want to go through the settings, or Stefano's now added a setup wizard that will look after the installation of things, which is nice. But you'll want to just point to the Cabbage executable. So if you go into directories and you go to Cabbage, you can see I've just pointed. So if you just go to browse, you'll be able to. There's Cabbage is on that. It's in here. So Cabbage is in the directory that I sent you. So you can just click on Cabbage there. Okay, save and exit. Right. So I'm just going to open up. So I'm going to open up the simplest thing I have, which is a very simple synthesizer. Okay, so we can make that a bit bigger. You can see bigger. Okay, so we've got two sliders. One is going to be the attack, and the other is going to be the decay. This is a very simple synthesizer, and we've got a keyboard here, so we're setting the size. So then I've got MIDI key CPS, which is going to be P4. So everywhere you see P4, it's going to be the MIDI value in CPS, and then P5 is going to be velocity. So if I want to launch that, I can go to Tools, I can hit Cabbage, and I can go to Update Cabbage Instrument, or I can hit Control Alt and I. Okay, so it's going to launch Cabbage. So it just takes a moment. The first time we launch Cabbage, it takes a moment because it's starting csound in the background as well. So there's a simple. Okay, so if we go to compiler flags here as well, we can see that. I can change the case. Okay, so this is a simple example. If I want to export that as a VST, all I have to do is file export plugin synth. I'll give it a name like simple synth. Save. Okay. WinXound has been updated your CSD file. Okay, so when you export the plugin, Cabbage and WinXound, they create a clone of the CSD that you've. So they'll put for example, if I go to the desktop where I've built that, so now I've got simplesynth.dll and I got simplesynth.csd as well. So it creates a clone of whatever file you're using and puts it in the same directory as the plugin. So this is a similar solution with your own tools. So whatever directory the plugin is in, it's going to look for. So when that plugin is loaded, it's going to look for a copy of the CSD called simplesynth.csd. So if I was to rename this, the plugin will crash because it has to find the simplesynth.csd. Okay, so I can close that now. I can open up a VST host. So if I go to instruments, well, the first thing if you're using, you want to set the plugin directory. If you're using Realize, you want to set. So I've got my plugin directory set to the desktop. So I can go to instrument settings. I can choose simple synth. Okay. So I can launch this the editor for simple synth. So now that's the plugin running in. So if I go here. It's not so much an interesting synth. But nice thing about it, when you have, if I go to track VSPs here, and I go to instrument automation. Okay, so then I've got the attacks here. So then I can add automation. If I go to automation, I can have my attack change over time. So, and you'll see it go up and down there as well. So it's so easy then to add automation to any parameters. It's just makes it really quite simple. Also, if I wanted to, I have the MIDI controller in the bag. But if I was to press Control N, then I can take control of any value parameter as well with MIDI, very, very simple. So that's just a simple, I have a little bit more. Let's look at subtractive. It's a little bit more complex, but still not much more complex. The problem is I haven't had that much time to write really interesting examples because I've been so busy trying to write the interface. So there's a so far I can show you another example here. These are all synths, so I've got some effects here as well. Effects, bandy ass pass. So, but I think I might not have some audio in. So if you want to set any of the audio options, you do it. Just do it here. I can choose my tab here. And if there was MIDI inputs, you could do it there as well. So it's a bit of a redrawing issue there. Should be okay. I don't have a microphone in, so that's why we're not hearing anything. But I can export that and bring it into renoise as well. So I don't know. Do you want to try it out and see how you get on? And there's just one other thing as well. You can communicate with the host. For example, I've got this. Just as simple. I've started to implement these, so I can receive the BPM from the host as well. So if the host BPM changes, then it can update. So it's handy for having delays and stuff like that. They're in time. It's not something I use myself, but it's something some of my students have asked for because they want to be able to set the delays based on the BPM and things like that. So yeah, so I mean, I give you a copy of it and you can hack any of those instruments and see what you come up with. So a copy here was one first up.
So but that's PC only for now?
PC only for now, yeah.
And it only works in conjunction with csound, or?
No, you can run it as standalone. It'll run. You can open patches and stuff.
I don't have csound installed. So
Okay, but it's on this as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can just drag the whole thing up if you want. It's more integrated with xsound.
Okay.
With xsound as well, you get the compiler, the csound output as well, which is handy for debugging. If you use it without xsound, then
It's just the zip file WinXound cabbage.
Yeah. Just if you extract that.
And you are working on a version for Linux as well?
Yeah, that's working actually. It's harder to distribute because I can distribute Ubuntu binaries or Debian binaries, but for other flavors of Linux, people are going to have to build it themselves. So
Yes.
you can use this because I know how to use it already.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do?
Yeah, kind of.
So you get the DLL and you get the CSD and you have to put both files in the
Whatever
plugin directory?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I earlier I'd done it before, a different way before, where I had the CSD file embedded into the DLL, and then when the DLL opens, it it'll read its own memory, it'll take and extract the DLL, or extract the CSD file. But then the problem, as I was saying yesterday as well in the talk, is you still have to write the file to disk for csound to read it because it won't load from memory. You can't dynamically send strings to csound, which if I could do that, then it'd be easier, it'd be more elegant. But I think
The photo, the csound plugin?
the folder is cabbage.
No, probably. You see, it's my mistake, and I've written something very parallel to the
there's
cabbage.
a zip file.
I'm going to
The holy private dedicate photos. Now tomorrow in the internet.
I will. It's destroyed already. Zombie? No.
It's a zip file, I think, isn't there?
Probably at the bottom.
Yeah. Keep going down.
Maybe we should use another one.
Keep going. Full of stuff. Yeah, there is one example cabbage.
Er det omtrent det samme løsning?
Men ikke annet.
Du er fleksibel der til å lage GUI selv. Det er jo
Ja, det er det.
Og så er MIDI inn. Kan vel ikke...
Ikke inn i, men det kan ikke være der. Man kan mide inn i koden. Inn i CSD-koden.
Okay.
I det
So this is just audio, or how about MIDI handling?
MIDI can be handled as well, but not MIDI files. If you want MIDI, but yeah, for sure you can send any piano roll.
Yeah.
That's,
Okay.
Yeah. That's no problem. And also you can control with MIDI, like a MIDI desk or something. You can control the
I
name
don't
of
know.
host
Yeah.
also,
Just
and you can also control it in
Yeah,
VST.
okay, yeah. So, but
sticks I can use it. That's what I do.
are there any documentations for the?
It's just the examples are so simple that you don't need any documentation.
No, but I mean the GUI stuff, like which
Yeah,
slider to
yeah,
use and the
yeah.
names for the codes, the opcode.
That is that's on online. That's available online, but I'm not online at the moment. Which is
What's the name of the folder? What is it?
folder
Yeah,
is-
the Winx
yeah,
sound cabbage.
Winx sound cabbage.
Do I need Python for this?
No.
Create the.
So how far is the OS version of this?
It's working, but the problem is that I can only create one plugin at a time
Okay.
because I'm having an issue with ID values. You know, the plugin IDs. Each plugin has a unique ID. On Windows and Linux, it doesn't matter if it has the same ID. It still sees it as a separate plugin. But on OS 10, I'm having a problem. I need to dynamically create an ID for each plugin. So one hack is you hit the same one or
No, because I do it differently. I can only have one plugin.
Okay, yeah.
I don't change name on the DLL. It's called
Yeah.
csound plugin every time,
yeah.
and you just drop in a
Oh, yeah.
neighbor file,
Yeah.
which means I don't have that problem. But it would be very nice to have,
Yeah.
to have several plugins.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
instruments.
The one hack that I have at the moment is that I can use I can hack the SDK for the audio units and VST, so it'll dynamically allocate some random ID. But I don't want to I don't want to have to keep messing with the SDK code because it's it's fixed, and so
Yeah,
to
I
do
know.
that is not the best solution.
But you can build RTAS plugins as well from Juice.
Yeah, but if I have to get the RTAS SDK from DigiDesign, so I don't know what I have to do to get that because I don't think that's
This
straightforward.
is audio unit and RTS. That's sort of the package. VST. These three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to have the ability to have it in photos.
Yeah, I guess you can use the VST bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'll eventually have to write to DigiDesign and ask them can I help there, but they don't give it out very easily, I think.
no, you have to prove that you have.
Yeah, some
It's
heavy
sort of
proof.
weird because you have to make plugins first and then you get the SDK.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's
So,
just,
yeah. So is everybody set up?
Can I have the flash?
Oh, sorry.
No worries. When you create VST Windows, and can you open it on Mac or Windows?
No, it has to be created natively on the platform.
Cabbage, Winx sound, the Winx sound cabbage. There's a lot of stuff on there.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
can,
Oh,
if
it's
you have
technical.
a friend who plays the synth and you have made this awesome instrument that he don't understand at all
Yeah.
and don't have csound installed, you can't create the VST and transform it to his.
Sure.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, no, see, if, let's say for example I'm working on a PC and my friend is working on OS 10,
Yeah.
so all I have to do is send him the csound file,
Yeah, right.
and then he can just export it you can just create the DLL then in his own system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So in that way, so that's why even though each platform has its own unique, build, but it's still cross-platform because the code will work on any operating system.
Yeah.
yeah, but you can build a DLL and send it
Yeah.
to your buddy as well.
So yeah, here. And why the Windows M0 seat when RTMedia is no? Does it have a good?
Stephen actually suggested
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
I'm not sure if it
Yeah.
has to be that.
Things
I
are often
think it was, I saw some examples of
See?
Stephen done with
We did
the
everything,
virtual
see?
thing. Because you put in minus M0 and you use the virtual keyboard also. And you
It's
also put
not
in
that
RT
hard.
mini,
It's
no,
not really
no, you put in RT mini virtual.
Good. No
And
sound.
minus
no
capital
noise.
M.
Or maybe you don't need it. Try it first.
How about
But why do you?
Maybe would
Can't you just let your cabbage plugin overrule to set this, so you don't need to have any options.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. That was something I thought about as well. But I don't like hiding C sound code from people because then it's, you know, I like the students to understand these are options and that's what drives C sound. Because it's potentially I could hide so much C sound stuff from students, and but it would turn it into some kind of different system, I think. So to me, it's important to show as much C sound, show that this is really C sound, and this isn't some kind of tool on top of C sound, it really is C sound.
But it's still the host that chooses what MIDI input you're using.
Yeah.
So if you have two synths, you can choose it in Renoise or Live or whatever. Which one?
Das ist schon kann, aber was ist VST? Achso, VST. Aha. Und wenn ich das nach Linux exportiere, umstelle. Doch, geht.
No.
Oh, you're a Mac.
Doch.
But do you have the cabbage flag on the new Windows sound for Mac as well, or?
Yeah. Actually, I have a version of it, and so you can update and stuff like that. But as I said, you can only create one plugin for the time being. So I want to. I've also started writing a GUI designer, so so you don't have to do the text all the time. You can drag and drop stuff like this kind of, and I kind of taken it. I think it's kind of a nice approach. When you click on the GUI, it doesn't. You can't right click and go to properties. When you click on the GUI, it highlights the line in the code. So it just takes you straight to the code.
Right.
So because I thought of having some kind of properties window then just way too many windows, just cut it straight to the code. So, but that's very external feature at the moment. It's working?
Yes, but I have a question. If I would like to export it, or well, I have to admit, sometimes I use Windows, but for example, if I would like to export this patch as a VST instrument, and is it possible then to load it with Rose Garden, for example, which is a sequence that's more or less the same?
Yeah, sure. Any software, any host that can launch VST plugins will be able to launch these DLLs.
And how can I do it? Sorry, you showed, but it's...
Do you have a VST host on the computer?
On the Linux partition. But
okay. Yeah.
How can I do it? I do it with cabbage. Was it cabbage?
Yeah.
Cheese?
No,
Cabbage.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
if you export it as VST.
Yeah. But
and
only for Windows. It'll only work for Windows. Yeah.
Oh, that's a pity.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But no. So if you wanted to use it in Linux, I give you a version of Cabbage for Linux. So
that would be nice.
Yeah. That's.
Will come later.
That will come later. Yeah. But I have a Linux partition here.
Yeah.
But it's working. Yeah. And Winx Sound is the same package essentially. So.
Yes.
What flavor of Linux do you use?
Ubuntu.
Okay.
What's your question? Which distribution?
Distribution. Yeah. So
it will create a file native for Linux.
Yeah.
It's not the DLL.
No, it's a .so shared library. Yeah, shared library. So yeah, for each platform, you're going to create a native library for that particular platform.
Eine DSP ist, glaube ich. Und speziell für die gibt es dann auch. Aber ich meine, die Rechner sind sozusagen
It's quick, yeah. And it works.
Es sind ja eigene DSPs, ne?
It's amazing.
Die eigene CPU dann wieder nur
So
now you can do something interesting.
And Kim asked about the could you quickly sum up the available GUI objects?
Yeah,
H11.
there's R sliders, there's V sliders, there's R sliders, a rotary slider.
I think you can get online with this if you want to show us.
Yes.
You need a voucher, but you can borrow mine if you don't have it.
Also ich habe hier wegen csound, das war jetzt irgendwie das erste Ziel, weswegen ich das benutzt habe, muss ich dazu sagen.
Are you able to get MIDI output and a MIDI input, so make a MIDI
Yeah.
plugin?
Yeah, you can output MIDI files as well. I haven't tried this, but you should be able to, yeah. Because it's basically you can do it with csound, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Can you show us?
I can try. First I
Der läuft auch auf Windows.
Because then you can have a sort of algorithmic composition plugin
yeah.
for MIDI.
Ich meine, es stützt
Yeah, MIDI.
Windows 7 ist mir noch nicht einmal abgeschrieben.
Mir schon.
Mir noch nicht ein einziges Mal. Ich bin schon überrascht mit Windows 7, dass es so diese Stabilität hat. Deswegen frage ich mich, wie lohnt sich das mal? Was ich rausgehen kann, ist zum Beispiel, oder
So this is the start of some documentation, but it's still, I'm updating it all the time. So, but it'll give you some idea of running cabbage. So.
Guck mal, jetzt habe ich hier so einen Haken, das war nicht so gut.
So the sliders is H slider for horizontal slider. There's a different type of sliders you can have. Okay, so the rotary, horizontal. Then you've got buttons, whatever, check boxes.
Can you move this with the mouse wheel?
I don't have it.
Can you use the mouse wheel to move the slider?
Yeah,
or?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You can, yeah. There's combo box, group box, stuff like that. But these are changing somewhat, a little bit, as we go on. Each object as well has a like, see, you have caption here, and you have it for button as well. You got a caption option. That just means that it's going to put. So, for example, if I take out caption attack, it's not going to draw this. So, if I launch this again, you'll see, because I found that all the plugins I was creating, I wanted to have a little group box around them to describe what the slider did. So I put in this caption. So if I take out attack here, bit, so now it goes. So it's kind of handy because it's something I ended up using all the time. So attack. So the shortcut key is kind of makes things pretty fast as well. So you can see, like, to Control Alt and I. So you can. I know it's still text based, but it's quick enough. I think you can do some quick editing. Also, max, min, and value. They can be. There's another flag you can use. You can use range. So you can put in min, max, and then value 5. So just to get rid of all that extra text, you can just use range. So, also, every object has its own default size. So you see, for example, I haven't put in a size for all slider. I've just put in a position. So it just means it's quicker as well, because if you want to develop GUIs quick, you don't have to keep worrying about the size. You just worry about where you're going to put them on screen. So I have a pause, I don't have any size. For the keyboard I have size, so it's 400 wide by 100. These sizes are in pixels, so everything is related to that. Yeah, at the moment it should say simple synth across here, but I think what I did was I changed this colour to black. I never updated the text colour. So we'll say it's a design feature, not a flaw, as they say, yeah. So, let's see if I've got any other. Yeah. With the MIDI, how do you output MIDI with csound? I've never done that.
Q.
Q.
It's a command line flag, is it?
Big Q.
Big Q. Minus big Q.
Yeah.
So?
And a number.
And the number is going to be the channel.
What is this Q for? This big Q stands for?
It's to output MIDI.
Ah!
So
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah. Because yeah.
And you have to give in the name of the MIDI file, or don't you?
No, it's not the file. It's
But the real time
So you can make it.
Okay, so you have
MIDI plugin,
MIDI.
like
the numbers in the
play a
output
key.
device.
Yeah, when you play
So
a
that-
key, you get a 3.
But I guess
Yeah.
if it's just like 0,
I mean, it's true, but you have
And
similar
then
instruments.
what do I do then in the instrument to output to MIDI? What opcode do I use to output MIDI in the instrument?
Note
Note out.
on, I think.
Note on. Send a note on message to the MIDI output port. Okay.
If you use note on dur, it will give you the note off as well, which can be handy.
So channel 1, I-num is going to be the note number, I guess. Yeah. I velocity. This is in MIDI. Take it.
Yes. So yeah.
And 1, 2. So that's just going to send 1, right? So I want to keep doing this, so I can put in metro or something. So that should keep outputting the note, right?
Maybe. Maybe you need to re-init or whatever. Let's just try.
Okay, so that's updated. Export plugin setting. I replace the symbols. Oh no, got that instead. Next thing has been updated. Okay, I can minimize this. Now I just need to rescan my plugin directory. Rescan. So it's found a new instrument. Simple synth demo. So now what I need to do is I need to start up to another VST, right? Another synth.
Yeah.
Won't it play just your standard BIP sound, piano sound on this default sound point?
Maybe. This is experimental.
I don't think so.
No,
Why?
because I need to route it somehow to another.
Yeah, it just sends out the MIDI messages to the MIDI.
But what does the Q0 mean then?
That's the device, yeah.
Is that a device? It says the device 0.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
since it's inside Renoise, I guess it's just, I don't know how, but I don't know Renoise.
Live one might be easier, so. Yeah, well, if you know how to use live, I think. That's the next thing. I never tried this before. It's
In live, you would just pass the MIDI signal or send it out on the track.
yeah.
So you could have the VST first, and you can do send MIDI out and have a synth afterwards as well.
Yeah.
Getting MIDI from.
I guess you have three kinds of plugins there. You have audio plugin, audio in, audio out. You have MIDI instrument, MIDI in, audio out, and you have MIDI plugin, MIDI in, MIDI out.
Yeah. Although this I've never tried. So.
I don't know how it will identify the plugin.
But isn't the entire point there that your plugin is actually working directly to the device when you do Q0? Can you really handle that? You turn real-time MIDI off. Doesn't that disable all MIDI handling inside your csound instrument?
No, this MIDI handling should still be taking place.
But it's inside Renoise. So, like if you work in the Max Live patch, you have use note out. If it's a Max patch, you have use note out. It sends it to the sound card, then or the device, the MIDI device.
Right.
But if it's inside Live, it will just pass it out again to Live and let Live take care of it. So I guess it wouldn't be the same.
You have to
Just send it to the host, and it's up to the host to do what it.
To do whatever we will with it.
You have to somehow route the MIDI into somewhere
Into another.
inside the.
Unless that would be like if you had if you hadn't used the end
You
flag.
probably have to have some specific handling of it in your plugin code then, since we handle the input MIDI specifically. Or don't you?
Yes. You're right. Yeah.
The Jews had a sort of a MIDI layer. They had their own structures that you fill with from the application and into the plugin.
But yeah, so I'm using the csound API function, read MIDI device, and open MIDI device. So that's how I'm passing the MIDI to csound from Juice or from Renoise or whatever host. So yeah, so if I don't have a write MIDI function, I guess then it's not going to csound is just going to do the MIDI, not the host. Right. Yeah. So technically this is not possible.
Okay.
Good point.
Right now, maybe.
Right now it's not possible, but it shouldn't be, so I did hear that, which should be interesting, yeah. Because then you could have MIDI, just MIDI based plugins.
Yeah, and have sort of like an talked about it having algorithmic composition plugin.
Yeah.
But using external plugins or commercial plugins with it.
Yeah.
You can do the max live. Quite easy.
Yeah.
This is great. This is
Music is commercial.
yeah. It's a really good tool. Is it? Can I get the Mac version, or is it online, or do you store it on?
I'm gonna throw myself out the window. The next person asks me for the Mac version.
Sorry.
No, it's
So we're
just
specifically asking those there, is it cross-platform? Yeah.
yeah, it is cross-platform. It's a fair. I built it on all platforms now, and I run it. But like I said, the problem with the OS 10 version is it'll only you can only create one plugin.
You said that, but you said that you had the OS X version,
Yeah.
but with that sort of
With that
limitation.
limitation, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I don't want to
You don't want to
release it with that
no,
limitation
okay.
because I want it to be the same. So,
Can I borrow the email?
yeah, sure. But I think it's just need time to sort it out and then package it, and also I'm just waiting for Stefano as well to update Winx Sound for OS 10. It's important that this connects and stuff.
I'm waiting for that as well. I made him about in OS X you can have tabs,
Yeah.
which means that you have to use a separate window for every CSD file.
Yeah, this is I know because Linux and Windows it's not you don't have to do it. It's
No.
not a problem, but yeah, he's having problems with that. I think it's
Yeah.
not so easy for him to implement.
It's just the way programs in OS 10 tend to be.
Yeah. Does
But I
anybody
don't
want
find
to try? If anybody wants to play with this, it's computer's free here. Anyone wants to try? Have some fun. Let me know how you getting on. Are you going to
Let's see.
put your head in?
No, I thought about Kirk's time stretching reverb as a first thing.
Oh yeah. Great.
Start easy.
Studies. And
Can you please explain the? It's just I'm sorry I'm not familiar with all the MIDI flags.
Yes.
How-
This,
Just technically, exactly how does the MIDI handling
how
input work?
does it come into csound?
Yeah, I get the audio is quite simple. You have an in channel and an out channel. Thank you very much. But the MIDI, how is it?
Yeah. See, with these MIDI interrupt command line flags, these guys here, you're basically telling csound, or you're basically instructing all the MIDI notes to be sent to P field 4, P4 in the instrument. So it's just like you write a nice statement and you take your P4 or P5. So you can specify any. You can take the MIDI note values. You can take the absolute values. There's different command line flags for each one, but it just means that I don't have to write MIDI specific code to my instrument, which means I can also write a score. You know, so it's you don't have to do it this way. You can have MIDI specific code in your instrument as well.
Okay.
You know, any which way you like, and it'll get routed through it. I'm just thinking with this minus. I'm still curious about this because if you take out the minus n, you know, I'm wondering then csound will just output MIDI itself. So I wonder how that will be picked up by the host.
There's also some bugs in csound regarding how it sends out MIDI. I think I remember we were working on that once, and the timing is not consistent.
Okay.
So when you try to throw out a 30-second note, it's not consistent.
Because it depends on the control rate. Your control rate is not
Okay.
yeah,
Again,
but it might be worse. Actually, what you described
csound AV.
is sort of even more coarse time distribution.
Auch vor allem.
I remember we had that problem when we were working with this clavier.
Yeah.
Is everything okay?
Yes. We just playing around.
Serious pain.
That's working as well?
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, it's just just using the channel information then instead of using picking up the information in the duration. It's auto-generates the looks, and it's only
Okay,
so it's coarser, it's simpler, it's
So it's very fast.
so you don't need anything. It's not a whole
Control rate here is
just a plug-in. It's a single DLL. You just drop in a CSV file next to it. So it's different. I'm not sure if this is
No,
the
me
same.
neither. So I waited a bit you say the
I'm not sure if we're familiar with actually declaring the channel. So maybe this is sort of natural.
yeah, I see. Maybe, well, I think because so many people now are using csound and they understand the idea of the channels to send information to.
But are those when you say channel there for attack? Is it an actual CHN channel?
Yeah.
In the background?
Yeah.
So you could access it from. Well, yeah, you could access the channel called attack.
Does this cabbage bracketed code does it actually add channels
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
csound file so it's picked up as
Yeah, it declares them. Yeah.
that's cool because then so you have a strong link.
Yeah.
So that has to
So it's all taken care of. However many channels you have, if you declare the channels, and then csound will be able to run it. It's just because to do it that way kind of adds the most amount of flexibility. But the only thing is, it's working with the Chan get opcodes now. It doesn't work with the Chan. What's the name of the other one? The ones that Matt Ingles wrote. Chan IO is it or something like that? Because it's a different system. One is a callback system. This is much simpler system, but it's not difficult to add. So I will eventually add it so people can use any channel system they wish. But there's a difference between this. This is the one that's done background Chan get, and it's really quite simple interface. The other one is a callback interface where it's the official callback code, and it's a little bit more complex. But Andres, he explained to me once, but I can't remember why. It's a much better system. So, but this one is just so simple. So
It is very good.
yeah.
So I think that helps a lot because I find it sort of nice that you don't have to do anything specific to code.
Yeah, that's what I like as well. Yeah.
So that's why I like to use channel K. Still, it's quite cryptic
Yeah.
to use this declaration. So maybe if you actually auto-generate these declarations anyway using this code, maybe it could be possible for you if the user does not want to care about the visual at all.
Yeah.
That he can just write and then say sort of the type of controller and just the numerics of it, not the size, not the place.
Yeah, no,
Sort
I
of
know what you mean, yeah.
auto-organized.
Yeah, this is something I discussed with Matt as well. We thought it would be nice if we could write csound code that would tell whatever host, the instructions would go to the host. And, this would be nice, but so far hasn't been implemented yet. Because we thought if there was just a generic, then all hosts, and I'll talk about today, the roundtable discussion, then all hosts could read the same code.
Yeah.
It should be up to the hosts.
Yeah, I did something quite different in all of this. We were doing a small attributes of computation, signal processing computation. And we declare the variables in a way that you declare them in type. Like if I declare an integer with just two values, it turns out as a so instead of actually specifying what kind of controller, you specify what kind of data, what kind of data type.
Right.
And then when this is skipped up on the client, it auto-generates. You're allowed to specify a specific GUI for a specific attribute, which overrides the generic. Because if you don't specify it, you have it almost have a fallback to the generic one. Which is already intuitive way to work. You can focus on your instrument first. As you get some GUI in, you can play around with it, and then you can
And
then
then afterwards,
override
yeah.
it. So if you find the SKU is too primitive, I like it more.
Yeah.
You should override it somehow by some sort of type ID.
That's interesting.
Nee, das ist jetzt erstmal nur für
Ja,
mich.
das-
Du kannst
there's-
aber auch
Try away.
Different approaches, I guess, one can take, but it would be nice to have this kind of like a generic kind of just a setup, so you can just put an instrument and then afterwards, you know, put the bells and whistles on, so to speak.
Yeah. But you still need to declare channels, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's some way around it.
Yeah,
And
some way around
maybe
it.
even your
Reaper hat keinen
I like the simplicity of the cabbage, and it's more readable.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
So maybe it's a good point.
Wobei es ja kein Problem
Yeah.
ist. Externe Editor und fertig.
Kannst du mal anwenden.
So what happens if you have multiple instruments?
Also kannst du
Das ist zum Beispiel auch ganz
If you want multiple instruments, then if it's a synthesizer, then you can have different instruments can be on different channels.
Okay, so it's like multi-timbre.
Yeah.
And each instrument can have multiple different outputs.
Yeah.
dazu.
Nice.
It's not bad.
Also, by the way, can you display like console messages or at least print messages on the VST?
In the VST, not at the moment, no.
Okay.
Just it's something that I had a output message window so from in cabbage, but I've taken it out, but I can put it back in.
Yeah,
It's just it would be nice to have some kind of to have the option of viewing some kind of output while it's running as a VST. Yeah, that's-
And if you can have like table values position or
yeah, that would be. It's the idea was that you develop your plugin, and then when it's working and everything's working perfect, then you export it, and then you don't have to worry about all the CSOund messages again because you know it's working perfect.
Yeah,
But there are obviously the situations where you want to get information from csound.
sure.
You know, you might want to see what values are set to. Yeah, that's true.
So what I did is just to have a text file output, debug text, and when you work
Okay.
on it, you dump it to a text file, and you can read that text file
Yeah.
if something crashes, if it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
That's another solution.
Because I don't have a host for it. But if you have a host, it's very nice.
Yeah, if you have a host, then like I have the code. It's simple. I have the code at home because that's how I was using it. But for WinXound, it's much nicer to have it integrated with the csound output and WinXound. But I can certainly add that again. Yeah. Are you working?
No, I'm keep crashing this cabbage actually. So I'm trying to figure out if it's my csound code or.
Well, if you just you can compile the code with WinXound first and you see if there's a
Yeah, and it works.
It works okay.
Also gibt es das aber nicht.
So something like.
Also zum Beispiel
Men jag ska lägga till
siehst du da relativ großer Abstand zwischen.
Is it because I have overlap or something? Is it a GUI?
Nej men det var en annan. Men den var i olja.
Okay. Das heißt,
Den bara puttade dit toppen.
Can you change the KSMPS to
Two flags, som de skrev.
Aber es läuft auch auf Windows.
Sen gick flags där.
Därför är det helt fine. Warp score, flaggen är kommandolinjen.
Ja, så
Der läuft zurzeit noch nicht gut. Der kommt auf Windows. Der wird kommen. Allerdings auch ohne MIDI im Moment. Also hier kann ich auch
Like
MIDI.
this? Oh, I mean, how simple can it get?
Das funktioniert jetzt nicht, weil ich hier keine habe.
Can I get more simpler than that?
Noten eindrücken, dann kommt es zunächst mal her als Text.
okay.
Naja, also ich meine, gut, das haben wir extra Ergebnis in der grafischen Oberfläche.
Do you know what these
Du kannst dann
brackets
das
do?
And then
Yeah, it's just to encapsulate a division.
You can have
You don't have to have a.
Yeah, I think it's because
You have an expression.
You have forward slash.
Ja, ist gut.
Instead of writing 0.5, you can write 1.
See the
Yeah.
In particular, 1 divided by 3 is exact. Instead of writing 0.333.
Take out the forward slash and see.
You can have expressions in
Yes, that's good to know. Thank you.
score
Or take out the hyphen also.
You can do this with FTGen.
Yeah.
Of course.
Wir machen
I think in Refugee you don't have any.
Have you seen this problem before?
Yeah.
No, you don't. I have
But have you named channels with
This is just a silly expansion. You see after January.
symbols like this?
Just
Well,
yeah.
you have more complex
compiles,
which is, I don't know if you can able to calculate
where
the
original file.
the rest of the numbers. Is that in your position?
No, it's mine.
Oh,
It has these
Das kannst du so nicht machen. Du kannst ja
channels.
rausziehen und meistens, ich meine, meistens ist es okay.
So there is already a channel. If I do this in
So this is your own code?
Yeah.
Inkscape.
like this,
Das ist schon
so I have this channel name,
Inkscape.
and it doesn't
Inkscape
explain
ist in der,
here.
Moment, also das Programm hier heißt Lilliput.
Okay?
Lilliput.
So
Wie man spricht.
maybe it's just
Mit Y,
That doesn't like-
Y. Und dann D, Distance. Also das ist eigentlich...
It's probably- yeah, maybe
Windows
it's
somehow
So when I treat the string, when I get the string from, and then I pass it to whatever else, maybe it doesn't like this code. And thanks for bringing that to my attention.
So let's call it driver.
Yeah, should be okay.
Und die zählen hin und her, also du hast direkt das Dings, du klickst auf das PDF, quasi, und das drin als PDF, und zack, springt er dir sofort an die richtige Stelle.
Das Ding ist einfach sehr viel
Doch, das gibt es auch irgendein Instrument, das ist
So this still playing there.
Så stort poäng där då.
Det var snart mal das Treffer gehabt. Das ist so.
Und da gibt es ein, das ist aber nicht so schön als Code.
Das Cabbage oder hier so. Das ist ja mehr.
Ja, ja, ja.
Also das ist quasi nur ein Editor, oder nicht?
Nej men,
So
ja.
that's just so if you.
Yeah.
But the other thing I meant to show as well, so you can continue to hack the code even while the plug while it hosts. So
Cabbage. Istället för...
yeah, you just restantiate the plugin and then it's everything will be updated.
Istället för att...
Du kan liksom ha flera.
You can, yeah, and then just reinstantiate the plugin and all the changes.
Good, good.
Community.
Please go.
Ja, wobei das sind das ist ja nicht so schön.
But it's not a multi-track now.
That's audio.
We should have
Das ist
some
jetzt
sort
das
of
war noch nicht. Zeigt er mir durch. Das ist auch ganz lustig.
yeah, that's nice.
Ich glaube, ich werde mich ja jetzt mal so langsam von mich kann.
Ich bin jetzt beim,
Bitte?
ich bin jetzt beim,
Michael. Nee, beim Dr. Müller.
Sounds good.
Yes, no, so you see, when you you don't need to really write the I statements because
Yeah, I was just experimenting. So you ignore all the
no, it still pay them, but if you build a MIDI instrument, then it's only if you're building an audio effect unit, then you're going to put in I statements. So you want your instrument to run.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, or turn on instruments.
Så det är så vi gör det helt enkelt.
Great, proof of concept. Works.
Är det någon sån, på något sätt fast i load?
Oh, it uses 70% CPU,
Yeah.
that's nothing.
It's but that's also because this version that I distributed here is the debug version.
debug,
Yeah, yeah. So what if because I didn't have much time before I arrived, so if I produced the release version, I'd say it's not going to use so much CPU. But is it an intense algorithm? This.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
so-
not intended for drums, or wasn't created for drums.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm just curious. The CPU is wondering is it cabbage?
Yeah, but it's quite heavy.
Yeah.
I tried to get it going through Max
With
Pro Live, and C sound typically.
Okay.
And it is the same with that one as well.
Så du får alltså, ja du måste köra den på jag fattar liksom exakt.
So, Rory, you want the time search reverb?
Yeah.
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 I have the USB stick.
Startar.
Cabbage.
The next workshop is starting now, is it?
In 10 minutes.
10 minutes.